Once again, the channel numbers. Number 1, English. 2, Italiano. 3, Español. 4, Francés. 5, Deutsch. 6, Flans. 7, Portuguese. And Chinese, number 8. Thank you. I'm sorry, say that again? Oh, whatever it was.
Okay, perfect. Wow.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a restful evening, because we're going to have another very full day today. And so we're going to begin with a prayer. And I'd like to begin with a portion of Psalm 29. The voice of the beloved is upon the waters. Love's voice echoes over the oceans and seas. The voice of love is powerful. The voice of love is peaceful. Majestic is the voice of love. And from the Holy Gospel that the Church has given us for our reflection today, and which we just heard at Holy Mass. When it was evening, the boat was far off on the sea, and Jesus was alone on shore. Then he saw that they were tossed about while rowing, for the wind was against them. About the 4th watch of the night, Jesus came toward them, walking on the sea, and meant to pass them by. But when they saw him walking on the sea, they thought it was a ghost and cried out. They had all seen him and were terrified. But at once he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." He got into the boat with them, and the wind died down, and they were completely astounded. The Word of God. Now, like the apostles, we have little control over storms, those of nature and those of our own inner lives, storms of fear, worry, anger, loss, fears of failure, and the unspoken questions of the disciples are the very ones we ask. What are the storms that are raging in me, in us, right now? Am I rowing against the storm, as did the apostles? Where are you, Jesus? Where are you when I really need you? Is this place where I am beyond your reach? How does my faith need to be healed and strengthened at such a time as this? And perhaps more important, where do I choose to focus my attention? On the storm, or on the one whose gentle presence beneath all the turmoil has the power and authority to still the wind and the waves? Can we believe that Jesus is there, will be there, in the darkest hour of the storm? Christ, you are the sailor, making your way through the uncharted course on a wild and stormy sea. You become the beacon light of that course for us. And today, as we light our candles, the symbol for us of who we are as family together, let us allow Jesus to be our light. The voice of the beloved is upon the waters. Love's voice echoes over the oceans and waves. The voice of love is powerful and peaceful. Majestic is the voice of love. Amen. Just a few announcements before we begin our session this morning. Again today, lunch is on our own. We need to be back here at 3 o'clock for our afternoon session. There will be, at the break times today, both morning and afternoon, the books available for the superior generals only, please. The books that Father Joe was telling us about yesterday. And he asks you to show the ticket when you go for your book. Also today, someone from the Vatican will be here to allow us to purchase the photographs that were taken yesterday of the group. And the costs are 4 and 6 and 8 euros, depending on the size you choose of the picture. Now, in our afternoon session today, we are going to have the opportunity for breakout groups according to the language groups to which each of us belongs. We'll explain a little bit more this afternoon about exactly where the breakout sessions will be located. But for now, I want you to think about that there will be in each session a volunteer who will act as the facilitator of the group, just calling the group together and beginning the conversation, and a recorder who will record what's happening in the group right onto the app as the conversation is occurring. So the facilitator, the recorder needs to be someone who is a little bit understanding of the app situation. And then, as always, we ask you to return the headsets as we leave the auditorium this evening. All right. And now I'm going to invite the members of the Vincentian Family Office to begin. Thank you.
Español.
Before all, I would like to, in this great opportunity, enter Epiphany and baptism, Lord's baptism, to say two things. One, thank you for the opportunity to learn in this marvelous experience as a Vincentian family. And the second thing I'd like to say is, I will speak briefly about five gifts. They're not the only ones, and they may not be the biggest ones, but they are part of a great treasure in which each of us are part of. The first experience in our visits that I was able to do belongs to Ethiopia in Africa. And I will say creativity. As we did our visit to our Ethiopia, we can contemplate the Vincentian witnessing that is present, daily present, in one of the schools of Daughters of Charity that is offering their services to children, the most poor children of the region, in the best way that I ever seen. They have set their school because of the conditions of the country on the top of a mountain, and the government, a difficult government, continues to will try to take away their work, take it from the Daughters of Charity, and place it in the governmental structure. And they say that is because they say it's because of the fear they have for the children they're living there. As you can see in the picture that is there in the slide. Every school year, it's a struggle, difficulty for Daughters of Charity and all the sisters that are working there. In this slide, you can see in the gram there about what the experience is there at the community. And you can see one of the classes receiving their instruction in the sun. Always, the daughters have always been able to overcome this fear, because even in their poverty and the difficulties they experience, they always have the best grades, not only in the capital but also in the whole national country of Ethiopia. That's the first experience I want to share with you. The second experience, Rwanda. An effective love. We were really struck by the service, the Vincentian service, that daughters that belong to our branches, they have been giving to the region. I'm speaking about the congregation Friends of the Poor in Rwanda. They work, serve, love the people there, especially the children with different disabilities, cognitive, those of movement, genetical, etc. As you can observe, they are very creative in the carrying out their vocation and the service. As we had our National Assembly there in Rwanda, all who were present and all the other branches of the Vincentian family, they could say all at once, if we wanted to help one group, that we help them, because they work with the people that nobody else wants to work for in the country. They work with our brothers and sisters, that Christ being there, no one wants to receive even the food for them. It's a challenge for them. And in that poverty and in that reality, they give witness to the charism and that Rwanda. One more of this experience there in Rwanda is the joy and the communication that you can see and have with the sisters and brothers of ours, because they are brothers and sisters. They feel love, and it's not difficult to connect with them and be in tune with them. That is the community. That is the work in Rwanda. It's a second gift that I want to speak about. The third group in South America, Argentina, and also, you understand, also Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay. I copied what I received from the visitor of the Argentina in regards to 3 congregation. Since there is a lessening of people consecrated there, it's something that we truly feel. There's some great structures that tries to have a lot of consecrated life and a very empty now. And there's a great fear how to use those structures that we have now. After a certain analysis and meetings with some lawyers' helps, we found that a proposal that in what we have more benefits than difficulties, and we continue to work in that union. Although there is where the question came about. How can we, as the Vincentian family, we can become a web of Vincentian schools? We thought it was prudent to go slowly and to initiate this dialogue with the members of the consecrated life, and this is the gift. The community Daughters of Charity, the Sisters of Charity of Zagreb, and the Congregation of Mission decided to put together their schools in 3 different realities. Something administration, something academic, and a pastoral experience. And also to share their personnel, to work together more, to go farther than our walls and truly be your family. But that same week, the sisters from Sagare, decided to leave the project. We had talked to the other two branches, the Daughters of Charity and the Congregation of Mission, that had committed their project to the project, and that's why we continue to try to form this dream, so that in the future we can continue to help it grow with other participation of other branches in the Vincentian family. As I received he is the Superior General of Sisters of Zagreb. There's many of you here present that we may think, that we rethink, and that we can be open to this experience that not only gives hope, that is the way that God and our Father is desiring to carry on, so that we can be faithful in our great vocation. The fourth gift, God's providential love. Our visit to Sudan. As we think, it's the most youngest country in the continent of Africa. In many of its areas, our brothers and sisters live in the precarious reality that we can imagine. We visited this country. We're desiring to find one of our branches, the Submissive Paul Society. But our great surprise was that as we just got to there, the members of Submissive Paul Society, they let us know about the Sisters of St. Joan Antida, that they had found, been working there for a long time. The next day, we met in the Sisters of St. Joan Antide, and in our reflection, one of the sisters mentioned that she talked about another congregation that it seemed to also be Vincentian, but they didn't know where they could find them. It seemed to be impossible to find them in 1 week in the reality of South Sudan. The third day of our visit, talking in the breakfast that they were in the center of Sudan where we were living, we were able to share the reason. The reason we went to Sudan, and the sister asked us, what were we doing? When we spoke about our objectives, and this the first surprise that we had, there was not only one branch, but we had two. God's work continues to manifest itself. And they said that there's one sister that she could be of the congregation that I had spoken about, that I was looking for. Oh, Father, if you want, I'll call her and we could confirm this. That was an opportunity to find ourselves and be with Sister Gloria Lopo of the Sister Charity of St. Vincent de Paul. That was there in that Sudan, and she was receiving a course on technology at the same moment that we were there. So it was a great coincidence that we were able to meet. And in that reality of grace and poverty and hardships, we started the National Council of Sudan del Sur, South Sudan, and it was very emotional because the first thing they told us, the three branches told us, was, what can we do for the Vincentian family internationally? And the second thing, what can we do for South Sudan? Because we want to be a national council, not of words only, but truly by our works and our commitment. It was great. We thought it was nothing, they had such a great heart and such availability and desiring to do something by the grace of God. The last and final gift, the family in Burundi, in a conversion, this process of conversion, a continual process for all. In that place, we can see a lot of towns that do not have energy, electricity, no internet, without water, without food, without education, with a great joy and they have God's wisdom. Many brothers and sisters of our family carry out different services. In Burundi, there are 9 branches of the Vincentian family. 6 are religious and 3 are lay ones. Also, there's one new one. The Guardians of the Miserable, a new branch. This last member of the Vincentian not only broke our hearts, they reminded us what is our most profound part as the identity of the Vincentian family. We see here the feminine branches of the Guardians of the Miserable. We see the altar in their house. You see there. We want a photo with you. Sister said, not like this, Father, like the way we're dressed. Let's place our most best dresses. I thought something that was special. You see the simplicity, the way they're dressed. And you can see here the simpleness of the way they live. The church of the place and the roof of the sister's house, where they have their chapel, their kitchen, and where they live. Their poverty, their joy, their profound being with the charism, it's always calling me to conversion. It's also a closeness to the soul and the spirit of the people that cannot be bought. And really, all the realities that we've ever seen before. At the end of this visit, the people were at the end of the road, and they told us, and continues to play in my heart and my mind, Father, don't forget about us. Father, come back. Father, we wait for you. The voice of God inviting us and reminding us where He's at, what is our mission, and the difficulties.
Minor detail, turning the microphone on. When we were first asked to share our experiences in meeting with the Superiors General and the Vincentian family, I immediately thought it was impossible within 15 minutes to include every visit, every moment, every experience. And then I remembered my mother's response when someone asked her which of her 7 children was her favorite. Her first response, she smiled. Without hesitation, she said, the one far away, the one I know least, the one I know best, the one with whom I am with, and so it is. As coming from a large family, these Vincentian family visits, minimally, have been ones of grace, awe, wonder, and priceless opportunities. And most of all, knowing without any doubt that the Vincentian family is not only alive, but thriving. Given this minimal time, I shall now share a bit of these experiences. As a disclaimer, Please forgive me for the ones I do not mention and for the pictures I didn't take. I didn't always have my personal photographer, Dee Mancy, with me, or our translators, Sister Bernadette or Sister Anne Mary. The constitutions of some of our communities mention the call is ever the same. The needs of those we are called to serve as Vincentian family community come into being, and consequently invites us to join as members. The charity of Jesus Christ urges us. And so, Margaret Aylward in Ireland established the Ladies of Charity. In 1867, with Father John Gowan, she founded the Sisters of Holy Faith to deal with the poverty of the potato famine there. The work was formalized as St. Bridget's Orphanage, never a residential facility, but never a residential facility, but a system of placing children with families in foster homes. The need for a school education for poor children saw the beginning of the network of the Holy Family Schools. St. Bridget's Orphanage today is now St. Bridget's Information and Tracing Service, helping those placed for adoption to find their own biological families. This past year, the congregation has also been designated an eco-congregation, a community of people who are committed to caring for the environment in their daily lives. Seen in the Margaret Aylward Center roof garden, the eco-spirituality in books of prayers and reflection, the biodiversity garden, including a wildflower meadow, and opportunities for all, regardless of their backgrounds. We know that seeing Christ in those we serve is at the heart of the Vincentian tradition. This is beyond any religion, country, culture, or orientation, to say the least. We are blessed to have Vincentian family branches who are Anglican. The Company of Mission Priests, founded in London, England, is an initiative of the Superior Generals of 3 Anglican orders in 1940. They form a close-knit and supportive community committed to each other for the good of the Church's mission among the most deprived throughout parishes and social works. My first introduction to this Vincentian family branch was after waiting for more than 3 hours. They waited for us over a plate of sandwiches. And these men even left 2 sandwiches for Dee and me. The first comment from Father Barry Skelton, who is with us, the warden, he says, "We are Vincentian." One by one, each shared their commitment to the Vincentian tradition, their contemporary approach to serving the poorest, and their support in fraternal community. They continued to be open to serving in the parishes and social ministries among the most poor. This Company of Mission Priests reinforces what it means to be Vincentian, seeing Christ in those they serve, defining with those whom they serve what they need, and involving those with whom we serve in the process. The National Vincentian Family in India. Last March, 42 participants from 9 Vincentian family branches met for the 12th annual gathering of the major superiors and heads of the Vincentian family in India, in Odisha. Where some of us may board a plane, a train, or a car for somewhat of a short journey, many of these Vincentian family members took days to arrive at this destination. This annual gathering shares updates, reports on regions, ministries, collaborative efforts, and plans for future collaborative efforts. The national gathering moves sites annually to assure that as many as possible can attend and to offer their insights and dreams, as well as their realities in serving the poorest. Sessions include an inaugural address, input sessions, Eucharist, a business meeting. From these gatherings, I met many congregations based in other countries and serving as missionaries committed to the Vincentian tradition of serving Christ and those they serve. Since then, I've learned of congregations at those meetings branching out to other countries to serve. And best of all, and most critically, they seek out the Vincentian family branches in their new country to talk about the unmet needs in the area in which they can focus upon and in which they can collaborate together. Catalingo, Italy. And I failed to get those three together for a picture because they're always on the move. No matter where these travels have taken us, we only had to look to see the Vincentian family for all. The charity of Christ urges us. This very banner in Catalingo in Torino, Italy, waved in the breeze high above our heads for everyone to see. Catalingo is synonymous with caring for the poorest of the poor in the Vincentian tradition. Founded by St. Joseph Benedict Catalingo, these multiple congregations of priests, brothers, and sisters, apostolic and contemplative, permeate this complex to address the challenges of everyone who seeks them out for care. Throughout Italy, no matter where we went, Catalingo is synonymous with not only quality care, but delivered in an approach that is personable and holistic in the Vincentian tradition. In meeting with the Institute of Nazarene Sisters, we learned that they had asked their native, older Italian sisters to return to Italy in 2015. Now their growth is in Madagascar. Their numbers include only the native-born sisters, and their numbers continue to grow there. Their sharing was not one of diminishment, but one of hope. Hope for the flourishing native vocations, prayers for meeting the needs of those they serve. When we were leaving, there was one more question after our orientation there for us before we left. Sister, ask Father Tomasz, where else should we go? Is there any doubt that the Vincentian family is alive? Some of these pictures may be familiar. A number of years ago, we as Vincentian family staff agreed to collect pictures of our Vincentian family founders. This is just a sampling on our wall. We have many more in which to hang and to put up and to celebrate, and many more yet to be collected. And of course, now we need a bigger wall. A bigger issue is, how do we gather your sharings with us? You have shared your stories, the needs, the challenges addressed at the times of your founding. When your founders originally planned to join a community consistent with your philosophy of ministry, and that didn't materialize, your founders wisely initiated new communities within the same charism that called him to address these needs. Within the Vincentian charism, the charity of Christ urges us. As Pope St. John 23 once said, "When a door closes, you go through the window." My apologies to all the communities that I did not mention for the lack of time and for my own lack of taking pictures again. Your creative ways to address the challenges of those we serve continue to inspire us, continue to give us hope, and as my mother would say, each of you, in your own way, are my favorites. Thank you for taking the time to share with us your passion for those you serve so well. Our God continues to work through us and among us in the best of ways, in the Vincentian way, in which we are blessed and hopefully a blessing to those we serve and to those with whom we serve. A rock in the garden we found as we were leaving. Christ at work is in us. Christ is at work in the mystery of time. Merci, gracia, obrigado. Thank you, gracias, danke, chuching.
The experience of visiting the branches of the Vincentian family has been priceless. It has been a moment of grace, a cause for humility, and a stimulus to praise God for blessing us with so rich and diverse a charism as is our Vincentian spirit. And my sisters and brothers, it has been full of surprises. From the beginning of my time as a Vincentian, I have always heard that Vincent founded 3 branches of the family: the Ladies of Charity, the Congregation of the Mission, and with St. Louise, the Daughters of Charity. But my friends, there is more to the story. In 1656, in the presence of Queen Anne of Austria, Vincent presented the constitutions of the Congregation of Christian Union of Saint-Chamond to their foundress, Madame de Port-Lyon, herself a Lady of Charity with Louise de Marillac. We are blessed to have with us here her successor, Sister Marie Vianney. Stand up, Marie. Another congregation founded by Vincent. And from one of the oldest foundations of our movement, we are blessed to know that the charism continues to give birth to new forms of expression. In France, I was blessed to meet with Sister Laetitia, who founded in 2010 the community of the Rose of the Annunciation that is based in Lourdes. Is Laetitia here? She was. She must have gotten wind that I was going to say something. She's not here. Okay, thank you. In Brazil, with the Familia de la Casa de Ranquines, founded in 2005. Father Joelson and I were driving to visit them in Maceió, Brazil, and we knew that we would see the charism in action even before we met them. They live amidst the poorest of the poor in the favela of their city. They have used St. Vincent's model as their own. They are composed of a men's community, a women's community, a lay movement, a secular institute, and the Mothers of Charity who support them financially. We never know what we will encounter. one day also in Brazil. We tried our luck visiting a community that we could not reach by phone, having no idea if they were Vincentian or not. And as we turned into the drive onto their property, we were greeted over the archway in the entrance to their property with a huge statue of St. Vincent de Paul. They shared with us that they always wanted to be part of the Vincentian family, but they never knew how to go about it. In Indonesia, we found a community of women, the Alma Sisters, who came to Rome for the symposium in 2017. What we never knew was that they also had a community of brothers in their own family. What a wonderful surprise. The Alma branches are doing phenomenal work with persons of disabilities of all different kinds. And they asked if there were any other congregations of the Vincentian family interested in this form of service to the poor who would like to join them in their work in Indonesia. They are being overwhelmed with a volume of requests for their services. So if any of you might be inclined to this work in Indonesia, please let me know so we can put you in touch with one another. My friends, making these kinds of connections is a wonderful fruit of the visits that Marge and Flavio make. Many times, we are unaware that there are other branches of the Vincentian family serving in our own region or country. Or we have needs and we do not know where to turn. In Papua New Guinea, they were looking for formation materials in order to refound conferences of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. And we were able to connect them to the fully developed formation resources of the society in the United States. In Thessalonica, Greece, we were able to establish a link between a local chapter of the AIC and the international movement. We were also able to provide information to the Vincentian Marian Youth Group in Athens, and these are just a few examples. As Flavio mentioned, it is a powerful testimony to the strength of the charism to see the works of the family with the poor flourish under so many varied conditions and circumstances. In the Solomon Islands, the Vincentian family makes a tremendous impact on a whole village in its education of their children and work with their parents, with little money and great creativity and local generosity. In the Philippines, great efforts are being made to secure funding for so many needs, most of which have risen out of a garbage dump outside Manila. And we have seen the creative repurposing of existing resources to meet new forms of poverty which we encounter. In Paderborn, a hospice center. In Augsburg and Warschut, Belgium, new construction of a whole new complex of services. In Suwon, South Korea, a state-of-the-art cancer center. And in all these services, we experience your joy-filled response to the expressed needs of the poor as the charism moves us to continue to seek creative ways to walk with our sisters and brothers in their need. But this is not always easy. and because the work is difficult. Not because the work is difficult. In many areas of the world, the church and the Vincentian family suffer persecution, either subtly or overtly, from government controls or being members of a minority in a culture dominated by another religious group, Christian or not. Hong Kong, Laos, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, Egypt, Turkey, Greece, Lebanon, and Syria are but some examples of places where heroic Vincentian action continues in the face of grave challenges. And the current political upheavals in Venezuela, Haiti, Nicaragua, Chile, just to name a few, also pose special challenges to us. In any number of settings, we have been asked, why are you here? Why would you travel all this way to visit us, who are a small congregation or branch of the family? But we know our value is never found in our size, but rather in our faithfulness to the mission that the Lord has entrusted to us in the service of his poor. I was deeply touched when sitting around the table with the Sisters of Charity of Louvain, Sister Elena turned to me and said something to this effect: "We never thought we mattered to anyone. But your visit has shown us that we are important and do matter to the Vincentian family." It was a beautiful moment, which was the perfect ending to our week-long visit to Flanders. On behalf of the entire team of the office, we would like to express our gratitude to you for the warm welcome you gave us into your homes during our visits. So often, it happened around the table with some of you, or in some cases with the whole local community together. And in every instance, it was marked by the joy that we find in the vocation we share, following Jesus in the service of the poor. And everywhere we went, we were greeted by our patron. Seeing his image made us know that we had come to the right place. Thank you.
Well, I think that the response that you just received from the Vincentian family gathered here speaks volumes to the presentation that you have just given us. And what I would like us to do now for the next few moments is to just be quiet and be in the new insights, the new learnings. What have you experienced as you listened to this work of the Vincentian family all throughout the world? Just be quiet and think about what you have heard and what you have learned. It is clear, is it not, that the collaboration which has brought us together here as the family is already taking place in many different places in the world, in many different parts of the Vincentian family. And there are more things to be learned about people in the Vincentian family that we simply don't have any knowledge of as yet. So the work continues. We are going to take a break now for half an hour. Look at your watch, and 30 minutes from now, we would like you back for the next session of the program. There are refreshments upstairs in the breakout room. You met that yesterday. And there are also books to be purchased and photos to be purchased should you wish to do so. Thank you.